Okay.
And all right, go live.
Oh, wow, it even tells you you're going live. That's awesome.
Can you see it?
It told me that we're live, but I can't see anything.
I'm just trying. I want to put us on gallery like that. Yeah. So that we both, can you see that?
What are you on? You're on gallery?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm on gallery.
Okay, cool. So we can see both of us.
Yes.
If anybody can hear us out there, we are in the process of going live. So hang in there. I don't know if it's even recording at this point. Last time we were just talking about all kinds of stuff when we were about to go live. So let me see here.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Trying to figure it out.
I know, me too.
Bear with us. We're trying to figure out what we're doing over here. We've got the electronic impaired.
Technology impaired.
Technology impaired. Okay, so I think over here, we're getting there.
It says it's waiting on my end.
Same here. I think it takes a minute though. Yep, here we go. So now we're able to go live. So bear with us. We're almost there. Okay.
Mm.
Yay, I think we're live.
Are we?
I think so.
Let me let you know a little secret here.
Yes, we are. There we go. Okay.
Okay, awesome.
I love frog stories and I love.
Okay, sorry, I had to get rid of the echo in the background. Okay, so now that we are on here, can everybody see us or hear us that's out there? I just want to make sure that we did get everything connected, and I apologize if you've been hearing us in the background kind of trying to figure out our electronic impairment over here, but I think we did it. Yeah, I'm getting feedback here from Sebastian, China. He's saying, yes, you are.
Right.
Cool. All right. So let me get my screen organized over here. Yay, we're so excited to be over here with you guys. Rosalinda says hello. Hi, Rosalinda. Joyanne. Hi, everyone. Lindsay Zavala's in here. Hi, Lindsay. All right. We're so happy to have all of you guys in here. And I'm just going to wait maybe a couple seconds here while we let a couple more people roll on in. What do you think, Shanna?
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Okay, cool. We have a lot of students in here already. I think I see Yami. She's in here. She says, hello, TAs, Yelena and Shanna. I can hear you.
All right.
Laura says hello. Polly Peterson says hi all. The Suri says hi.
Hi, Siri.
Regina says hello. Hi, Regina. Long time no talk.
Right.
Okay, so Diana says, yes, all good, ladies. Happy to see your faces. Hi, Diana. Good to see you too. All right, you guys. So we're going to wait maybe like 1 or 2 more minutes, but we are so happy that everybody is rolling on in here. We are so excited to talk today about the nodal shift that's taking place. Honestly, I don't know if Shanna agrees. I'm sure she does, but the nodes and eclipses are, I think, one of our favorite things to talk about.
I think so. Yeah.
I thought you were totally just going to shoot me down.
No, I'm thinking like I like eclipses because, well, I kind of like today too, not just with the eclipses, but or with the nodes shifting, but Uranus is stationing to go direct too. It's direct now.
Yeah.
So we have that really intense change, liberation, freedom kind of energy. And so to me, the nodes and the eclipses kind of bring a lot of that too.
Yes,
Like that wild change and out of the blue kind of energy. So I really like talking about eclipses and nodes. So I'm excited too.
Same. And I feel like it's going to be quite an exciting year of change for a lot of people because these nodes are going to be connecting with Uranus and with Mars come late summer into the fall. And that's going to be really interesting, dynamic. Yeah. So we'll be talking about that obviously as the months grow, but we have something else we really need to focus on right now. So
Right.
let's see what else to chat. We've got Phyllis handy in here now. Hi, Phyllis. A lot of students of the Cosmic Academy of Astrology that Shanna and I are TAs for. If you are not aware of what that is, but you might be interested in studying astrology, we do have enrollment that starts next month. This is all done through Heather Eland. She is the teacher that we work through, and she's amazing. So if you don't know her, check her out on YouTube. I'm sure you guys all do, though. And if you are interested in getting on the wait list for the Academy, you just need to go to astrologywithheather.com and click on Cosmic Academy of Astrology at the top of the page. Yami says, watching from an Airbnb in Colorado. Oh, I'm so glad that you made it to Colorado. That's awesome. And the Suri says, hello. Hi, Shanna. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started.
Yeah.
So, hi, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Yelena Crawford. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I am here joined by astrologer Shanna Cross, who is my fellow teacher's assistant, my friend, my colleague, and we just have a really good time together. We like to talk astrology.
We do.
And laugh and act like morons sometimes.
Yep.
So here we are again. So today we're super pumped. Shanna, do you want to say anything?
I'm really excited for the changes that are coming. Come what may, because the stuff that's been going on lately, it's like we just need to change it and move forward.
I agree. And I feel like the nodes moving out of Gemini and Sagittarius, you guys, they're mutable energies, which is all about transition. And it requires a lot of surrender and adaptability. And it's one of those things where we can't quite ground down a stable foundation. And because there's so much going on. And it had a lot to do with our belief systems and our mind and everything like that. There was a lot of information coming at us from all different angles. And with the square from the North Node to Neptune, it was like a lot of false information and a lot of deceptive energy. So it's going to be nice having these nodes move into fixed signs of Taurus and Scorpio. What do you think that's going to do to change the energy a little bit?
So the crisis happened, right? Like if we're like talking about things, the crisis happened when the nodes were in Cancer and Capricorn, right?
Yeah.
So there was a crisis
at the end of Cancer.
Yep. Right at the end at like 1, 2 degrees, 0 degrees, whatever it was. That's when things happened. And then when the nodes moved into Gemini and Sagittarius, we had to adapt to that.
And
we had to adapt.
That was like April or was it May of 2020?
I think it was May of 2020 that the nodes actually shifted into Sagittarius and Gemini.
So we have to remember too, you guys, that when the, COVID crisis began and the nodes were in Capricorn and Cancer, that's, gosh, why can't I think right now? It's not
cardinal energy.
It's a cardinal energy. So it's all about change, and things can change suddenly, right? So that's when that happened. And I like how Shanna broke that down. We had to kind of adapt our mind, our belief systems changed. Like a lot of our belief systems and paradigms that we were existing in kind of crumbled, really. Yeah. I mean, a lot of stuff before our eyes changed significantly.
Exactly.
So anyways, we're going to be talking a lot today.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So anyways, let's give like a little timeline. First of all, I just want to let you guys know, Shanna, we can find Shanna. She's an amazing and talented astrologer. And you can find her over at Moon Apogee Astrology on YouTube. So please open a tab, go there if you're on your computer, and subscribe. Hit subscribe. Help her build her channel because she needs to be heard more. Also, she posts daily. She's like really, really dedicated to posting her writing and her post daily on Instagram. So head on over to moonapogee_astrology at Instagram. There's so many names. I forget like what these social media sites are. And I know, then right? If you want to book a reading, both of us are actually starting to book readings for February, but for both of us, it will be kind of limited for February. So you can head over to Shanna's website, www.apogeeofthemoon.com. And for me, it's YelenaCrawford.com. And then just to tell you, I would like Instagram people too. I would like to have you, come over to my Instagram. And my name over there is Yelena Crawford Astrology. So thank you so much. Now that we've plugged ourselves a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, shameless plug. We want to, let's see. Oh yeah, I'll type her site. Rosalinda wants us to type it. So we're going to go, didn't you just give yourself your new YouTube URL?
Yeah, it's
youtube.com//moon apogee.
astrology. Yeah. Moon apogee astrology. All one.
There we go. There's Shanna. Whoop, whoop. Okay. So somebody said they barely made it through their Saturn in the 12th and then their Saturn return. Michelle, we are so happy that you made it.
Yes.
So happy that you made it out. I know that's got to be tough. Very, very tough. I've been through a Saturn return. I know how that is. Okay. I need to get on track here, but
yes, you're still in the Gemini energy.
I know, right? So this is definitely going to be the order of events for today. Now that I'm going to be on track.
Okay.
We're going to first and foremost discuss what the North and South Node even are. We're going to be looking at it from a couple different standpoints, from a modern standpoint, from a traditional Hellenistic standpoint, and also from maybe a little bit of a Vedic. We'll just touch on that a little bit, an Eastern outlook on that. And then we're going to be moving into what it means to have the North Node moving into Taurus, what it means to have the South Node moving into Scorpio. And then we're going to have a little past look, taking us back into history of some of the past transits of the North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio. So this happens every 18 years when these cycles occur. And we're going to look at some of the major events in history that have occurred, so we can get maybe a better idea of some of the themes and consistent events that we noticed, to get an idea of how to predict moving forward, right? And then we're going to talk about just briefly what it would mean if you have your North Node in Taurus and Scorpio, and your South Node in Taurus and Scorpio. And if you're going to be having a nodal return when this happens, or a node reversal, and what that will mean for you. Then we'll have a little Q&A and we'll move into readings for all 12 zodiac signs. How does that sound, you guys? Okay, so Jennifer just subscribed to your YouTube channel. Andrew says hi. And yes, we'll share how it'll affect Cancer rising, Shell, at the very end.
Yep.
Okay. So Shanna, do you want to start off by chatting with us about the nodes in general and what they mean?
Sure. The nodes are, so, in modern and traditional astrology, this is where we predict the eclipses, right? So you have different ways of calculating it. Some people like to use the mean node. Some people like to use the true node. I personally use the true node because it's the true node. And it seems to be a little more accurate. But the nodes themselves are points of the eclipses. And the North Node is where we're going, and kind of, it's almost like we're hungry for whatever, like I say that, like Taurus, right? Taurus North Node, we're hungry. We're hungry for what it is that whatever sign, whatever significations that the nodes are in. So the North Node in Taurus would be, money, material, possessions, safety, making sure, food, exactly, food. Like I said, hungry. And the South Node is kind of what we're leaving behind, what we're letting go of, and what maybe no longer serves us, that we've been kind of toiling away with, and we just need to let it go and let it die.
Yeah.
And, that's.
Well, I would say just an important little fact to consider is that these nodal shifts, they happen every 18 months. So this is going to be an 18-month cycle that we're moving into, of this Taurus and Scorpio axis. And a lot of times from an evolutionary perspective, people kind of get convoluted in their idea of what the nodes mean. And I think a lot of people get stuck in the belief that you're supposed to move into your North Node and like completely forget about your South Node. And that's not really the case. We have to remember that like this is on an axis, and it's two polarized energies that really honestly need to be balanced out. Yes, there's going to be more of a gain or an increase where the North Node energies are. And there's going to be like a decrease or a letting go, like Shanna said, in where the South Node energies are. But also, like, we have to remember the South Node is things that we could potentially bring back from the past too. It could be bring people back from the past. Yep. It could be awakening dormant or latent talents and gifts and abilities and somehow using them to move towards your North Node in some way, shape, or form. But ultimately, these are tied to the eclipses. And these eclipses are what bring in these big changes in our lives every year. So big beginnings and big endings. So wherever these nodes are and wherever they move, it kind of shifts the storyline of what's happening with eclipses. So we have 2 eclipse seasons per year. This one's going to be happening in the spring, April and May. And then there's one that'll happen again in the winter. And that's when this change really starts to kind of amp up. It can be a little chaotic, maybe sometimes disruptive. Sometimes they can bring things that we really like, and sometimes it might bring things that we really don't like. But ultimately, it's very evolutionary. And I think
so. I mean, I'm definitely not the same person I was the last time the North Node was in Taurus and the South Node was in Scorpio.
no.
Not so
So
much.
it's nice if you guys want to look back and kind of think after we talk today, what some of these things could mean for you. And what was going on in your life back in 2003 and 2004, because that's the last time this occurred. Because when I look back and I think, okay, well, this cycle's coming around again, and I could be faced with some of the same circumstances, similar themes and dynamics that played out back then. But look at how much we've changed in those 18 years. We're going to have a totally different relationship with how we handle some of these energies. And that's the whole process of evolution. You can look back and say, man, I really have grown. Wow, like I can handle this. This is going to be just fine. So I like that. Now, I want to dive in a little bit just quickly, Shanna, if you don't mind, and talk about like the perspective of Hellenistic and how they look at the nodes. So basically, just quickly, where the North Node is, it's like a magnet, right? So if you look at the North Node, it'd be like the plus side of a magnet. If you look at the South Node, it's the negative side of a magnet. So basically what happens wherever the North Node is there's a significant gain or increase, or like you're magnetized or hungry for a certain energy. And that's for the good or the bad. Okay. So one thing that's important to look in your chart and to kind of configure this is, where is the North Node going to be traveling and what planets do you have there? Because if the North Node hits a malefic, which is a challenging planet like Mars or Saturn, it could be increasing, or you could have a gain in some of those more challenging energies, right? Where the South Node is an area of gain or decrease, or where we have to let things go. And it can also be an area where we tend to escape from everyday reality and things like that. And if the South Node hits a malefic planet like Mars or Saturn, it can be a decrease in those energies. So for instance, I just had the South Node hit my Saturn in Sagittarius, and that was great. I had like a decrease in responsibility.
Well, that's awesome.
Like my bartending job and everything, it was really kind of nice. So anyways, but with the North Node, just remember, this is an increase or gain. When it hits a malefic planet like Mars or Saturn, it can increase or gain in that for the worse, right? And or just make it more challenging. It doesn't have to be like doomsday, you guys, okay? Or if it hits like the sun or Venus or Jupiter, that's going to gain that great energy of Venus and Jupiter. But the same for the South Node. When it hits a malefic, it's going to decrease that energy. When it hits a benefic, it can decrease the benefic qualities of that planet too. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Is there anything else that you maybe want to add about the nodes, or do you think that we pretty much summed that up nicely?
No, I think we summed that up pretty good. But also, like with the nodes and fixed signs, it's about refinement, right?
Yeah.
So
building, stabilizing, growing.
Yep.
So, and we're talking like money, you guys.
Yeah.
I think that there's like a huge potential for like a lot of people to have significant financial gains, potentially. Depends on your chart, of course. But also healing, because with this Scorpio energy, like this has the potential to really drudge up a lot from our past.
Yeah, well, addictions and things like that. Scorpio.
So I think we should get into that next, because it sounds like we're kind of wanting to go in that direction anyways.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if there's any questions in the chat really quick. Let's see. Lots of people just talking to each other. Uranus transiting. Okay, we're going to do a little question and answer later, you guys. So keep your important questions to the end. Okay, we're going to do a question and answer. Okay, so let's go ahead and move into what it would mean for the North Node, excuse me, to move into Taurus. Shanna, you want to take it?
Sure. Well, food, money, possessions, values, value systems, right? Let's see. So wanting to make sure that you hold on to the things that you value the most and let go of the things that you don't, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that could definitely be something here with this. Relying more on your income or relying more on your individual, right? Because Taurus is kind of like that individual energy, right? Or what have you. So I would say more on your own money that you can make of your own volition and letting go of other people's money or money coming in from outside resources.
So like reliance on and what basically a good thing to look at right now is, sorry, you guys, I was recovering from being sick last week.
And talked a lot today.
Oh, I've been talking a lot today. Yeah. So I'm so sorry. That's probably super unattractive on the video. I would look at some of the structures or some of the like monetary things that you might be reliant on in your life, because there is a potential for some of those things to maybe be destructed and taken away, or you have to let go of them in some way, shape, or form, and kind of trying to think of ways that you can build and stabilize a financial structure for yourself. That would be a good thing, to kind of look at right now.
Yep. Thank you for rewording that.
I just wanted to add that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't, like, sometimes
well, it's good that we give a different perspective anyways. So
yeah.
So do you want me to give a different example?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. We can just go like ping pong back and forth if that's cool.
Oh, totally.
Okay. So I would say, like, when I think of Taurus energy, being a Taurus sun, I think of somebody who is extremely focused, but patient and determined and very goal oriented. Because when you think of Taurus and like the cycle of the sun on the ecliptic, Taurus is when the sun is moving north, like upwards towards the pole star. So it's like that slow climb towards your goals, right?
Yeah.
So it's, it's this like slow, patient, methodical energy of like being very determined and working towards your goals. It's about hard work, you guys. And a lot of times we don't have a good relationship with wanting to work hard and putting away instant gratification. So I think over the course of this cycle, we're going to learn the meaning of hard work. If you really have goals that you want to attain and things that you want to achieve and wealth that you want to build, you're going to have to work hard for it. It's not going to be something that comes like super easily to you. So yeah, that's one.
I like that. Farming is another, right? Like
Farming,
people getting back to the earth. Like there is mass exodus out of the cities. People want land, even if it's just a few acres, to be able to grow their own food and start homesteading, right? Like that's totally this North Node in Taurus, and being able to grow your own food, right? That's a very Taurus thing. Exactly, getting your hands in the dirt and being able to reap the benefits of what it is that you're doing with your labor.
Yeah,
right. That's what I think of.
Well, and I think of Taurus too as being a sign of simplicity.
Yes.
Like what are the simple things in life, right? So it could kind of taking us back to like domesticality. Is that even a word? The domestic life.
It's a word right now.
Yeah. Domestication.
There we go.
Domestication, living from the earth, basically connecting more with nature and taking care of our planet also. Because I think that a lot is going to be kind of drudged up from this Scorpio South Node, where we're going to see a lot of toxicity and things that are relevant to the planet and how the planet is dying if we aren't going to be taking care of it. So that's going to be something that could definitely be more impactful in the next couple of years.
Now the thing is with this cycle though, it's going to have a little bit of a different flavor with Uranus there.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, the weather patterns and stuff. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah, but there's other stuff too.
Let's do it. Dive in, because Uranus is in Taurus. We have to remember that too. And then North Node's going to be connecting with Uranus at some point and with Mars. So it's a little interesting. It takes a turn.
That is interesting too, when Mars is going to connect, because Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio. So Mars with the North Node, what are we bringing back from the past?
Interesting.
That's how I see that. But with Uranus here, though, like there's a lot of different technology that's starting to emerge
Yeah.
for like agriculture or
Well, look at all the like manufactured meats and stuff. They have like lab meats that they're creating now to try. Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm sorry, I just
And ever since Taurus moved into, or Uranus moved into Taurus, it's been like this, like veganism has become huge, eating
Yeah.
plant-based. So anyways, go ahead. I just wanted to throw that in.
Yeah, no, the plant-based meats though, like if you actually read the ingredients on some of
Well,
those things,
actually, it's not even as plant-based meats though. Like now they're actually creating real meats that are lab made.
what?
Yes, you have to research it. It's the craziest thing I've ever
researched
heard.
that. I
Wild.
I did not even know that, but that's
Yeah.
definitely that Taurus Uranus.
It's like
Ooh,
cloning stuff. It's just bizarre. I don't know.
okay,
Yeah.
that is weird.
Yeah.
But there's, advances in technology. There's also what is it called? I can't remember. Geoengineering.
Yes.
That's been a word that I have been seeing pop up lately, like especially as the nodes started getting closer to Taurus, geoengineering this, geoengineering that, and of course, I mean, do we want to talk about the skies and how the planes, chemtrails, yeah,
It's like
those are picking
genetically
up.
modified foods in general. Like
Yeah.
it's just there's a lot that's going to be, there's an increase in all of that. Like we said, it's for the good or the bad. You know what I mean?
I'm just hoping that some of these like governmental stipulations on pesticides and things, because if you look at the European Union versus, and I'll point out the political, but the European Union versus the United States, they've banned a lot of the stuff that we still use here in the United
for
States.
sure. Yeah.
And so because it's killing
in like some countries that you can't even fly into the country or like bring foods from the United States into their country. Like
Yeah.
some of the snack foods and stuff that we have here are like chemicals,
Yeah.
straight up chemicals.
Right.
So I'm totally with you on that. I hope that changes as well. That would be really nice.
Yeah. I
Or
hope so
people
too.
will just start to have like a better relationship with the foods that they eat, realizing that food is medicine, that everything that you put in your body, you become, right?
Yes.
Or even like healing using herbs. I think like
Yeah.
moving into herbalism, I know that's something that's a goal of mine.
Yeah.
It could be something that we experience, but also Shanna, let's kind of move into a little bit of like the supply chain, that we're already starting to see instability in the supply chain. Like, I know that Heather, I watched a video of Heather's before where she even predicted years ago that there would be food shortages, and look at how we've already been experiencing this.
Yeah, exactly. I went to the store the other day and there was I try to, the fruits and vegetables that I get, like the raw fruits and vegetables, I try to go organic where I can.
Yeah.
There was no organic fruits or vegetables in the store that I went to. And I'm like, wow, yeah, this is interesting.
So we are brought back to simplifying our lives, you guys,
Yeah.
because we're so used to having so many different selections, which is very Gemini, really. Having so many different things to choose from, right? So many different options. And we might be forced to not be able to even access some of the things that we used to have access to, which is going to force us to simplify our lives. So these are just
and
a couple
moving back moving back to nature, right? Moving back to eating seasonally, where if it's not in season, you can't get it, you can't eat it. So I think that's going to be a learning curve for people over the course of the next 18 months too.
Yeah, I mean, with the Pluto return that's coming up, and who knows what we're going to see in the next year and a half.
Yeah.
This is going to be pretty interesting, I think. Just to add like another personal element to this, I think that obviously Taurus has a lot to do, and Venus, the ruler of Taurus, has a lot to do with self-worth and our value systems. And it also has a lot to do with relationships. And I think that we're going to be kind of reassessing what it is that we truly value, the people that we want in our lives, what's going on in our current relationships, and also kind of working on our self-worth as well throughout this cycle. And that's going to be very much working in tandem with letting go of some of these traumas and things that need to be healed, some of these shadow qualities or darknesses from our past that are associated with the South Node in Scorpio.
And fears.
And
Letting go of
fears
fears.
and addictions.
And addictions, yeah.
Obsessions.
Compulsions.
And I can't think of anything else. Darn it.
I love it though. This is great. I love it.
Another thing too, I want to add this for sure, because as I think back to when the North Node was in Scorpio for me last, or you know what I mean, South Node Scorpio. So we have to remember that Venus is the ruler of Taurus. The South Node in Scorpio we already talked about addictions and compulsions and obsessions. Well, there's going to be a gain of Taurian things and Venusian things. And that has a lot to do with the sensual experience, indulging in the sensual pleasures, taste, touch, smell, which is sexual, which is like you could become hedonistic, you know, you could overindulge and fine wines and, you know, just overdo it a little bit, gain an addiction, have an addiction come back from the past. So these are just all things to watch out for. And remember, balance, because it's all about enjoying the sensual experience, but it's about enjoying it in a mature way, right? In a responsible way, in a balanced. Venus is about balance. So yeah. And materialism, we can't forget that too. Being too materialistic. Yeah.
Actually, do you want to move into talking about the past?
Into South?
The North and the South Node? Because there's some really interesting things, I think, from the past.
Oh, wait, let's talk a little bit more about the South Node in Scorpio.
The South Node in Scorpio, okay.
Yeah. Why don't you start with that, and then we'll kind of go back and forth with that.
Okay, so Scorpio, does have to do with fears and traumas, addictions, compulsions, things like that. But it also has to do with like our digestive system too, and like our colon and excretion and like letting go of toxins. And that's the one thing about the fixed signs that I think we should probably touch on, is that if you have heavy fixed sign placements, you can hold on to toxins in your body specifically.
Taurus, and those fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius.
Yeah.
So especially the earth and water signs tend to hold on to things. Typically Scorpios in general hold on to a lot of emotions and resentments and just all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So
that's another Scorpio thing, is resentment too. So there's a letting go of that's going to be happening over the course of these next 18 months, and letting go of, old resentments, old grudges, old, resentments and grudges, that kind of thing.
Which could actually become a problem to a point where maybe you have some type of physical condition or something that's showing you like you need to let go of this stuff. Like, or it could be haunting you in some way, shape, or form,
parasites. Even.
Yeah, like just all kinds of stuff. It could, the way it could present itself, because when you think of Scorpio and the planets that rule it, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, and Pluto tends to drudge things up, and it tends to bubble things up to the surface for you to kind of purge, right?
Yep.
So anyways, now that we're into the nasty stuff.
It's like, you gotta go there though. You gotta get in it.
That's what Scorpio is. It's about talking about the things that we don't want to talk about, that everybody wants to turn their cheek to.
Yes. Get deep. Get deep with it, right? That's definitely Pluto. So I have a really interesting placement in my chart where for me, it's actually talking about the things that people don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
And getting very deep and getting understanding that, your pains, your wounds, your traumas, it's okay to talk about.
It's totally fine.
Yeah. Get it out. Get it out.
I feel like our generation is so much different with that. Like, it's the previous generations that are a little bit more closed off. And I'm not saying that's everybody in those generations, because there's a lot of open-minded people, but you know how that works. Also, this is a sign that's associated with death, right? So, I mean, we could see something associated with that. We might see some prominent people or figures
Mhm.
that are passing or something during the eclipse seasons or shortly after them. But basically, let's see, I have a little sheet here. I want to make sure that we cover Scorpio completely, but I also think of Scorpio as being kind of like impatient energy, because it is, on the other hand, like traditionally ruled by Mars, and Mars is kind of impatient. Yeah.
Right.
So it wants it now, and it can get like, frustrated if it doesn't have what it wants when it wants it. But Taurus energy is not like that. Taurus energy is very slow
And
and
stubborn.
takes its time, and it's stubborn and doesn't like to be pushed and prodded, right? So it's almost like kind of finding a happy medium behind those kind of energies too.
Yeah.
And that I kind of talked about that with the goals and the hard work and everything with the Taurus energy. But
I think Scorpio too, like for me, Scorpio is very calculating as well. Like I know some people that actually have Mars in Scorpio,
wow,
and they are very
powerful.
calculating, chess playing, like
Ooh,
strategy.
total detective.
Yes. And I'll call my dad out. So my dad has Mars at 1 degree of Scorpio.
Wow.
And his ruling planet is Mars because he's an Aries rising, right?
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So he was actually military intelligence for the National Guard for 20 years. So, that I know that energy quite well, and it is very calculating, and on the shadow side, very manipulative.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's definitely, light and shadow, very intelligent, right? Very strategy driven. Like you want to make sure that you're making the right moves because there is that safety element, right? Like you want
Wow.
to stay safe. And so
Well,
yeah,
it's
there
almost
is
like learning how to step out of that, be vulnerable, trust, and be open to sharing, because we have to remember that the moon in traditional astrology is exalted in the sign of Taurus, and the moon is
Yeah.
all about, being open with your emotions, being able to healthily share your emotions with other people, being a little bit more vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
So stabilizing emotions instead of having that scorpionic intensity, because it is very
Right.
intense emotionally.
Yeah.
Another thing too, Shanna, is like Scorpio rules secrets, right?
Yes.
So, and it also, I'm not a mundane astrologer. I would like to study that someday, just
me
add that
too.
element in. But I know that like Scorpio does rule over like the shadow government
Yeah.
and all of those like the hidden elements of government and
Like the powers that be and the
exactly
people behind the scenes that are pulling the strings. Yeah.
Well, I
Cults.
almost wonder if there's cults. Yeah, just like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like rape and just a lot of really dark stuff.
Yeah.
So I wonder if trauma, like all that, I wonder if like we're gonna see an unveiling of some of these topics where a lot of secrets are going to be brought to the surface, and
Yeah.
it's going to make
Scorpio's
us
about truth too.
totally reevaluate like our value systems and our morals and our ethical framework that we operate from. So this is going to be interesting.
I think, and especially with Pluto in Capricorn and in the United States having the Pluto return with the South Node,
Yeah.
letting the secrets out, right? Like, because I mean, come on, our forefathers, Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin, were astrologers for one. Nobody talks about that.
No.
Masons, right? Like the Freemasons, total cult. You know what I mean? So there's things that
societies would be all of this information. Yeah. So
yeah.
So what do you guys think so far about some of the stuff that we've been covering? Does anybody have anything to add, or is this all kind of like making sense to you guys of what these things could bring? Somebody says real food, please. Yes. Hopefully that Taurus North Node will help to, clean up our eating a little bit and like what the FDA approves and actually deems real food. That would be amazing. Everybody's just, in agreement, really. She says, geez, Yelena, calling out the Gemini. Oopsie. Let's see. Somebody said they heard that yogurt was one of the items that they don't eat in other countries.
Yogurt?
Interesting.
Oh.
You know, I have heard though that like a lot of the yogurts, they're full of sugar, and when you mix sugar with probiotics like that, it pretty much like ruins the probiotics. So if you are going to eat yogurt or cultured foods like that, it's best to eat like kefir or something that or kefir, however you say it, that doesn't have a whole lot of sugar in it. But in my opinion, it tastes terrible.
I'm not a kefir. I like regular yogurt.
Yeah, I
Just
like it with a little
plain-
bit of sugar.
Yeah, just plain yogurt. I like plain yogurt.
Somebody's asking what the Pluto return is. Is there any resource that we could give them, Shanna, that you can think of right off the top of your hand or head, that they could tune in to learn what the Pluto return is? I know Astrology Hub has like a pretty good thing that they did on the Pluto return. And a lot of astrologers have talked about that on their YouTube channel.
Yeah, I think all they have to do is really just go to YouTube and look up Pluto Return USA, and they'll get a plethora.
Yes.
But one of the ones actually, Heather actually turned me on to him, is William Stickaverse.
Is he the one that talks a lot about mundane astrology as well?
Yes.
Okay.
He talks about the mundane astrology quite a bit. He does have a YouTube channel, but his website, you also subscribe to it, and he has like live events and things like that too, where he talks about different things. So he seems to be like really spot on and well researched. Like I like
his name in the chat.
If I can spell it.
Here,
You talk and I'll look it up.
Okay. So you guys, next we're going to do something a little bit interesting where we kind of take a walk down memory lane, even though a lot of us were not existent during these time periods. But Shanna and I had done a little bit of research to look back and see if we could see some North Node in Taurus, so South Node in Scorpio themes in history when the nodes were in these exact same spots every 18 years. So that maybe we could get an idea of themes and reoccurring cycles and events and things that were taking place, so we can get maybe a little bit of an idea of what we're looking into moving forward. We wanted to mix a little bit of, challenging circumstances with positivity, because the nodal shift is not a negative thing, ultimately. This is, I really believe it has a lot to do with our evolutionary path, even though I'm not an evolutionary astrologer. That's what it's proved to me anyway so far.
Yeah, same. I found that too, especially watching it closely over the last couple of years.
Definitely. And even just like looking at your own life, you guys would all see the same exact thing. Sebastian is asking, do you look at where the rulers of the nodes are at the moment the nodes change signs? Is that relevant? Yes, definitely. So if you think about it, the Venus, the North Node ruler, is currently involved in a huge dynamic right now. Venus retrograde with Pluto, which Mercury will soon retrograde right into. And if you guys are looking for more information on Venus retrograde, I do have a webinar up on my channel that I did all about that. And Shanna might even have information on her channel about that too. You don't have it? Okay.
Nope.
And then Mars, which is the South Node ruler of Scorpio right now, in ancient astrology, traditional astrology,
Right.
Mars is in Sagittarius next week, about to move into its exalted position of Capricorn, you guys, which is going to be really nice. And it's awesome because on January 29th, 1 week after that, Venus moves out of retrograde. So I like ye.
Me too. I will be so happy when Venus goes direct. I can tell you that.
Yeah. And Angela says Molly McCord just did a Pluto return video, and I second that because Molly McCord is one of my most favorite astrologers. She said, Yelena, do you and Shannon teach courses, or Heather? Heather actually has the Cosmic Academy of Astrology, and Shanna and I assist her.
We are TAs for that course.
We are teacher assistants, yes. So if you are interested in taking the course, again, www.astrologywithheather.com.
Yes.
I sound like an infomercial or something.
I love it.
I mean, like a product.
I absolutely love it. Too bad you didn't have one of those things that could pop up at the moment, like astrologywithheather.com.
Okay, so let's go ahead and walk backwards. So we're going to start, we won't spend like hours on this because we're already 45 minutes in. So we're just going to touch on a couple things just to give you an idea. But We started back in 1929. So the last time the nodes were in Taurus and Scorpio back in January 1929, all the way to June 1930, we see some themes relative to money. There was the Great Depression. So as you can see, moving out of COVID, we are in major depression right now. And they're saying that a lot of the conditions that we're moving through are actually worse than the Great Depression. So it's interesting to see that we're almost very similarly working through that. And I think back in 1929, that was when Black Death was, the Black Plague.
1929, the Black Plague.
Wait, was it, or was that in the 40s? It lined up with like a depression or a recession time period.
I don't know.
We'd have to look at that, but
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. But so the Wall Street crash that happened October 28th, Scorpio season. There was a South Node eclipse, right? 1929, the Wall Street crash, right? So which
Black
kicked off.
Tuesday.
Was it called Black Tuesday?
It's called Black Tuesday. Mhm.
Okay. So, and well, that's interesting. A Mars ruled day. And
Wow.
yeah. So that's
Interesting.
crazy. So yeah, October 28th is when the stock market crashed officially.
Yes.
Millions of dollars. Right? At that time, 1929, when you're talking millions of dollars, that's insane. That's like billions of dollars in today's age.
So as you can see, we already are starting to see the themes of money, right? Now, I didn't look too much more into 1929, 1930, because I just wanted to move on to an earlier time period. But Shanna has quite a bit that she researched from the 40s. So the next time period that we want to move into is August 3rd, 1940, or we'll just do not August 3rd, but August 1947 to January of 1949 was when the nodes shifted again into Taurus and Scorpio. So Shanna, tell us a little bit about this and some of the things that you noticed.
Some really like weird, interesting things that I found. So the USA, Chuck Yeager, which I've heard that name before, right? He actually was a United States Air Force captain during World War II. And he was the first person to break the sound barrier in October of 1947.
Wow, interesting. Yeah. Okay.
So it's like breaking the sound barrier. In other words, like punching through like a physical barrier, right?
Okay.
Is that weird?
That's pretty crazy. Yeah, I like that.
Another one.
I think it's like earth related, right? I know there was like a lot of discovery of like land and things like that from the past. Yeah. I just don't have any of it wrote down, but
I've noticed that there was a lot of exploration kind of stuff going on with the North Node in Taurus. And so Kon-Tiki expedition, this one is interesting because I watched a documentary on it. I think it was 1948, right? Yeah, it was in 1948, the Polynesia Kon-Tiki expedition, where some scientists put together a raft and sailed from South America to an island in Polynesia, proving that South Americans could indeed have colonized the Polynesian islands.
Wow, that's interesting.
And they almost died doing it.
Jeez.
Their raft broke apart.
Scorpio element, right? Of death and destruction. Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Yep. And then the National Security Act of 1947, Harry Truman, the act facilitated major restructuring of the United States military. Right. So so that's that could be that South Node, and the Department of Defense in the wake of World War II. Right. So refining things again.
Interesting.
Let's see. There's another Mahatma Gandhi. I don't know if I know who
Mahatma Gandhi is. Yeah.
So he was actually assassinated.
Wow. See, that's really interesting because Mahatma Gandhi, I mean, if you think he was a very like stable, like just beautiful person, right?
Yeah.
And there's that like Taurian element. I wonder what his sign was.
That's a really good question.
But it's just interesting because then it's just that intense death, like total
Yeah.
extremist, you know.
Yeah. And he was murdered by a Hindu extremist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that was actually like January 26th. So is that Pisces? I'm trying to think here.
I see even on here like Czechoslovakia becomes communist.
Yes.
Like, yeah, it's going to be an interesting year.
And the UN Declaration of Human Rights.
Wow. Well, we can already see where there's a lot of countries, a lot of masses of land, continents that are heading in that direction or have already kind of stepped. Like, look at Australia right now, for God's sake. So, I mean, we're already starting to see a lot of that. Okay, so let's go ahead and move into the 60s. So 1966 to 1967, the nodes were here again. And Shanna, we have some pretty interesting thing here as well. Here again, we see Vietnam protests.
Right.
So protests within countries.
Yep.
And what else?
The Miranda rights were enacted into law. So when you get arrested, right, they read you your Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney, right? So your human rights were brought into the fore again.
Sorry, my dog is trying to get my attention right now.
Right.
Sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. Yeah. So, and then there was a disaster. It's called the Aberfan disaster. And I didn't know about this one. In South Wales, in October 21st, news events in the United Kingdom, a slag heap containing unwanted rock from the local coal mine, right? Mining down into the earth, right?
Mining is very, it's Mars, right? Coal, like, or is that steel workers? Would that be more plutonian? Coal?
I think coal. Yeah, I think coal is more would be more Martian, but so it would be more Scorpio.
Okay.
Slid down a mountain, and as it collapsed, it destroyed 20 houses and a farm before going on to demolish virtually all of a junior school. 144 people were killed. 116 of them were children between 7 and 10.
Jeez, oh Pete's.
Yeah. So a natural disaster.
There's been a lot that I've read about natural disasters, like tsunamis, earthquakes, just a lot of natural disaster. Because if you think of Scorpio, it's destruction, and it's destruction of Earth. So exactly what you were just reading, it's interesting. It says it destroyed a school, a farm, all like
houses, homes, like places of dwelling.
Somebody also, the Surrey said 1945 through the 50s, it was the end of World War II, end of colonialism in Asia and Africa.
Yep. Yeah, I noticed too, I didn't put it in here, but there was a lot of countries that proclaimed their freedom from Great Britain and proclaimed that, like, there were several countries, and especially like Indonesia countries. There was another one, Pakistan, maybe. There was something going on where they redrew the lines. North Korea came into being, all that. But this one, so when we're talking Taurus North Node, this one in 1966, I thought was pretty funny. The mini skirt came into being.
Ooh, because Taurus rules Venus, or Venus rules Taurus, and fashion.
Yep.
Clothing.
So I thought that was, I thought that was pretty funny.
I like that one.
A little
on a lighter note.
Right.
The mini skirt.
Yeah, the Batman series, right? Batman is pretty Scorpio. Star Trek debuted, and then there's all kinds. I found it so fascinating. Gemini 8, Gemini 10, the lunar orbiter, the ATS satellite, Luna 9,
lots of
Gemini,
space travel.
Lots of space travel, leaving the planet. Like, what's up with that?
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's a theme too that I noticed when I was looking at the major headlines.
That's very interesting. Well, that's kind of cool. I like space
Yeah.
travel. That's nice.
And then the Houston Astrodome, which was 710 foot in diameter, the measurement of it, which was at the time huge,
Yeah.
right, was built. So
Cool.
again, that Earth, building something. The US population hit 195 million, which I don't know what we are now, but I know we're a lot more than that. So pretty crazy.
So, now we'll move into the 80s. So we have like September 1984 to about April of 1986. And what do we have here?
we have another assassination.
Interesting.
So Indira Gandhi, which
And was
again,
she related to Mahatma Gandhi?
I didn't find that in my research. I was just looking, but I think it's interesting though, because around the time that Gandhi was, around the time that he was assassinated, she actually came into power because she was elected as the first woman prime minister in India.
Mhm.
And as because someone passed away, so
Yeah.
she a woman, right, which is interesting, was elected, and then now 18 years later she's assassinated.
Very interesting. Huh.
So I thought that was very interesting.
You know what I found for 1985 too was
What'd you
mad cow disease.
Really?
And Taurus actually is representative of not just the bull, but the cow.
Yeah.
And it was a rampant disease that was spread throughout cows. And I think it was from it was very neurological. And it was,
Yeah.
I think it was from the drinking water, I want to say. I don't remember how it was transmitted, but yeah, mad cow disease. And it's just interesting. Yeah, because I think of like Scorpio energy. We already talked about toxicity and disease and all of
Yeah.
that. And then, to actually put it in a cow when the North Node is in Scorpio, it's
Right.
pretty interesting. So that was
Oh,
one
man.
interesting one that I found.
That is interesting.
Also, I don't know if you found in the 1980s, the savings and loan crisis. So there was another one that was associated with money and loan. It was like a crisis of loans and everything like that. Did you see that?
I did not see that, but I did see that there were several like broker land deals between countries, like the Spain-Gibraltar border,
Okay.
right? The Gibraltar Strait, like they opened that border again. So it's coming together of separate lands.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another one too was, let's see, where is it here? It's called Band-Aid. I don't know if you remember this song or not. So it's got like Paul McCartney, David Bowie, and it's So This Is Christmas, right? That song.
Yeah, I remember that.
That song came out, and what it was, so it was for, let's see, the raising of money and creating a greater awareness of famine and poverty in Ethiopia and the whole of Africa.
Interesting. I like that.
Famine, right? Famine is that Taurus North Node. So bringing awareness to it.
I like that. There was also an oil war during this time period.
Was there?
It was the Vietnam War, oil war.
The Vietnam.
1984 to 1986.
Interesting.
So you guys, we already we're seeing a lot with natural resources already, and gas prices have skyrocketed, and there's all kinds of issues that are going on with that. So as you can see, there's a resurgence of that once again. And no, my accent is not Minnesota, it's Michigan.
That's
Not
funny.
quite Minnesota. Somebody said, Angela said the tsunami hit 2 days ago in Tonga. I did read that.
Yep.
Yeah, interesting enough, when Uranus stations, it can definitely bring natural disasters. It just brought this crazy snowstorm in the south all the way through the northeast as well. And there's some places that got like 12 inches of snow. It was like a crazy winter storm that just moved up the coast as well.
Yeah, Ontario actually got 3 feet.
Yep. So we'll be seeing a lot of like earth disasters, natural resources, especially since Uranus is right there too.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a huge surge of that when the North Node hits Uranus in the summer. So
Right.
Shayna, do you have any more you want to add, or you want to move into the 90s?
Okay, so there's more space stuff. So the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster. I don't know. Are you old enough to remember that?
I mean, I was probably a baby.
Okay. Yeah, because
So,
yeah, 19, well, yeah.
yeah.
So I remember it. I remember I was really young, but I remember watching it on TV and just wide-eyed, like, oh my gosh, what just happened? What just exploded in the sky, mommy? What just happened?
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it was in 1986, and the entire space shuttle just completely disintegrated in the atmosphere upon re-entry. And everyone obviously, died, didn't make it. But again, more space travel.
Yeah. I wonder what the connection is with the space travel. That's really interesting.
Yeah. And that's what I have for that, for the 1980s.
And then the 90s, moving in a little bit closer. I don't have any for the 90s. I was looking mainly into the 2000s, and I think that you were too.
Yeah, so I actually found the Human Genome Project was completed.
Interesting.
So yeah, getting deep and getting microscopic and mapping out our deep DNA, right?
That's really interesting. Yeah.
One thing I did want to say though, it actually started, because I look back to when it started. It began in 1990, and that was when the North Node was actually in Aquarius.
Okay, well, that would make sense to like space travel and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
And I
that's
think the ones that we were reading before, Uranus was in was somewhere interesting too.
let's see.
I
I
don't
think
remember.
Uranus was in Sagittarius
Yeah.
in the 80s.
Well, yeah, that wouldn't really make sense. But in the 2000s, there was I thought this was really interesting. There was something that was called the, hold on, I have it right here. I'm going to bring it up. It was called the Oil for Food program. So this was a scandal that involved Saddam Hussein. It was a story of scandal, money, and international intrigue. It was supposed to be a program that helped Iraqi people, and it ended up hurting the reputation of the United Nations. And it proved that dictator Saddam Hussein was one of history's most corrupt leaders. And that was when he was captured. So
Yeah.
he captured a very Scorpio-like leader, dictator. And yeah, so basically it was when they were trying to tie this thing where they allowed Iraq to sell unlimited amounts of oil, provided that the money went for humanitarian goods and to repair the victims of the Gulf War. And Saddam Hussein actually scammed $21.3 billion in illegal revenue from the system. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So we're going to see a lot of like money scams and like a lot of just things like that potentially coming to the surface, right? That are tied in with, I just thought that was interesting.
That is really interesting. So I wonder now, like, because now let's see, now we're like 20 years later, just about. So what's going to come out of that?
Yeah. Interesting, huh? And then another interesting one was Martha Stewart. And she was actually like, I think of Taurus and Cancer as the most domestic two signs.
Yeah.
But it said this year, 2004, Martha Stewart, labeled the diva of domesticity, was sentenced to 5 months in prison. And it was after she was found guilty on 4 counts of obstruction of justice and lying to federal investigators. And it had a lot to do with money laundering and everything like that. So it was things that were very, I think it was about stocks, trading of shares. She traded her shares of stocks or something and wasn't supposed to. I could be a little wrong with the details of that, but it was very related to like Taurus and Scorpio energy. So I found that really interesting as well.
I find it really interesting that as the nodes are hitting like the very final degrees of their transits through, there's another female that's in the limelight for insider trading and probably going to be tried. I'm just going to say it that way. I'm not going to name names, but
I want to know who. You can't leave us hanging.
She's in government. So
is it NP?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, you guys figure out who NP is. But anyways, I
Speaker-
wanted to bring up something too, is like we started having these eclipses in Taurus in November. And that's when the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell started. And this was all about like the Jeffrey Epstein dynamic, which is very scorpionic, and all of this stuff, like when the Venus retrograde started, you know, she started moving through trial and was sentenced. So we might see a lot of like activity related to people being served justice for like a lot of scams, sexuality, manipulation, control, power and control dynamics, like all of those kinds of scorpionic energies that are darker, you know.
Yeah, the shadow side of Scorpio.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of that stuff could come up too. Somebody already put it in the chat, her name.
Okay.
Yeah, Jennifer, you're right. More corruption coming out about the government. Yeah.
Yep.
And the shadow government, like we said, like the parts of the government that we don't. Oh, yeah. All Sherby said, Dr. F.
Yes, yes.
I'm hoping that he's one of the ones that gets taken down. I just had a couple more for the 2000s, and then we can move on. I
Okay.
really like the fact that this was the first time that gay marriage began in Massachusetts. They were the very first state to allow and legalize gay marriage.
I
And
remember
I
that.
love that because it's like this very scorpionic thing about sexuality that a lot of people disowned, that they
Taboo.
turned their cheek to. It was a taboo topic.
Yeah.
People were not valuing gay people properly, and it just pissed me off, right? So I'm so happy that that was something that we were made to value everybody, right? And give them this opportunity to marry. Also, Taurus is very associated with like housing and the real estate sector of life. And I looked back, I didn't write down the other date, and I wish that I would have, but there was some in the past where there was a housing bubble. And we're starting to see this, me looking for a place to live in Florida right now, how the housing market is insane. And people
Yeah.
are paying way more money for houses that are not worth that money. Like it's
Yeah.
insane. So there's a huge housing bubble right now, and there's a lot of predictions. So I started typing in like housing bubble burst, and there's a lot of people predicting that the real estate market will crash in 2022 as well.
Yeah, I don't think it's just the real estate. I think it's across the board. It's
Just
going to be
like the economy in general.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's all going to crash.
Well, and as I was mentioning, like earlier, there was like I forgot what I was going to say. Move on.
So there's more Earth things that I found.
Okay.
And a really interesting, weird thing. So in the United States, there was a major severe weather outbreak, spawned more tornadoes than any week in US history.
Wow.
393 tornadoes were reported in 19 states.
That's kind of scary, huh?
That is insane. And then there was an earthquake in Bumerdes region in northern Algeria. 2,200 people were killed. Yeah. Natural disasters.
Definitely.
Sky marshals came in existence. So armed undercover sky marshals are used on aircraft to prevent terrorist attacks following 9/11. Isn't that crazy?
Interesting. Undercover. Very
Undercover sky marshals. Yeah. And then the do not call list starts providing consumers on June 27th with the opportunity to limit telemarketing calls. I thought that was so weird. Like, I don't value you calling me. Stop calling me.
Right. I like it.
But there's just some weird things. And then record high temperatures in the UK. That's the last one I have for that one. Where is this? Faversham in Kent reached 101.3 degrees, which is, I guess, completely astronomical. So it's 38.5 degrees Celsius, 101.3 degrees Fahrenheit. And I guess for the UK, that's very, very unusual.
I've never been there, but
Neither have I. I don't know.
okay, well, do you want to quickly just give a rundown of, we can discuss, like, if you guys have your North Node or your South Node in Scorpio, you will be having like your natal North and South Node. And if you're not sure, they look like headphones. If it's the North Node, looks like a earmuffs or headphones. It's like a little circle with two little circles on the end. And the south node, Shanna's probably got a picture of it here.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the south node looks like the opposite. It looks like a horseshoe, or not a horseshoe, but it's upside down.
Upside down. Yeah.
Like this. So anyways, if you are having a north node return, which is when the north node hits, the transiting north node hits where your node was when you were born, that is called a nodal return. And that is pretty significant. Okay. So that can be a very disruptive time period, potentially. It can also really surge you and push you forward into your destiny and what you came here to do and what you came here to move into. Yeah. Now, this can also make you extremely insatiable and hungry towards the topics of your north node. And you want to watch out for that as well, because we can also tend to escape into our south node, or past addictions and tendencies can come back into the south node. So the nodal reversal, what I like to say is, if we are not necessarily in alignment with our destiny, or we haven't worked a lot on our karma and just certain things in life, it's almost as if like this mysterious invisible hand of God comes out of the sky, and we're on this big like chessboard of life. This is what I like to use. And they take you and your little pawn and they move you where you're supposed to go.
I love that.
But sometimes that can like totally disrupt your whole life, because you're like, you had other moves planned on the board, right? And, maybe the universe doesn't want you to have those moves. So it can be kind of a disruptive time period, especially if you're not in alignment with what your nodes want you to be in alignment with. So do you have anything else to add about that, the nodal return? Or
no, that's perfect. I love the way you explain that.
Do you have a way of explaining the node reversal?
Pretty much, if you've gone too far into that north node, like if you have literally just lost touch with your south node and you've gone so far into your north node that you can't see the light of day, a nodal reversal will kind of like course correct and pull you back and say, whoa, wait just a minute. You need to hold on here. You need to remember that you have this south node over here, and you need to remember that you can't quite get there yet.
Yeah. And with the node reversal, that would be when when the transiting north node actually hits your natal south node, and vice versa. And I've also recognized this in a couple charts that I've read, where it's almost like an ability to balance out those energies a lot. It's like imagine if you had two magnets that were reverse. It's a nice magnetic field, right? And I've noticed like somebody that has I don't know, it's a nice balancing energy.
It is.
Basically, which is what Shanna just said. So I'm not going to go into it any further, but we'll leave it at that. And we'll see if we have like any significant questions that anybody has. And then we can move on to doing forecasts for all 12 zodiac signs. Cool. Okay.
Awesome.
So Phyllis said she's having a node reversal, and Phyllis, let us know how has that felt for you? Like, how have you experienced that? How to know your nodal return. Angela, wherever your north node is, you just look to see where the transiting nodes are. And if the transiting node will be moving over your sign where your node is, then you're having a nodal return. And the nodes move backwards from the way that the planets move. The nodes are always in retrograde. We have to remember that too. They're always moving clockwise around the chart. Somebody said, I'm scared. Don't be scared, Angela.
Ooh, don't be scared.
Their nodes are always moving into different signs every 18 months. So it's a learning lesson, right?
Yeah. And all you have to do, like even if you're not having a nodal return or a nodal reversal right now, if you want to know, like if you want to inform yourself of possible situations, scenarios, or themes that can pop up, look back to the last time the nodes were in Taurus and Scorpio, right? Look back to 2003 and 2004. Like as a personal example for me, I actually took a trip because I was planning on moving to California. It didn't pan out because of a relationship that I had, right? Yeah. So, but what I ended up doing is I decided to go back to school. I quit my job, right? Because not my north node, but the transiting nodes were in my 10th house, conjunct my midheaven. I quit my job and I went back to school to get more education. So that can be a theme, right? This time around, there's themes of teaching and education, but not necessarily me going back to school, but me teaching.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And so there's a potential that I could quit my job. Right. And especially with Uranus there, quit my job and change my career and teach. And
Exactly.
so,
and I'll give an example too, if we're going to do that. I'm not going to give a ton of details, but when my North Node was in Taurus last, it went over my sun and it was in my 11th house, and the 11th house is associated with gains and friends and expansion and increase in energy. And whatever I was doing were my goals, things that I was trying to work towards and achieve that year, I ended up like achieving all my goals and receiving some notoriety for those kinds of things. But at the same time, I also had some friends that were kind of causing me to throw myself off course. And I was escaping into my South Node in the 5th house, which is a house of celebration, party, fun, indulgence. And I was also kind of escaping into these addictive tendencies that I was having as well. So I was having a really hard time balancing out the aspirations and the goals I had, because I had the South Node that was pulling me in the opposite direction. So just another interesting way to look at it. I think examples help.
I think so too.
Let's see. Dr. F is going down, somebody said. Yes. Well, the North Node will be hitting my natal moon in Taurus, Lisa says. Would I expect increased or challenged emotions? And Shanna, well, if you don't mind answering that, I have to let my dog out. He's pacing.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay.
So let's see. I'll see if I can pull this up here. Universal. Let's see. I'm trying to find your comment on the moon.
Okay, I will go back and let him in a minute. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't see the
It's from
here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just trying to find it. So the North Node will be hitting my natal moon in Taurus. Would I expect increased challenged emotions? Not necessarily, because the moon is exalted in Taurus. It depends on what degree your moon is at and whether or not it's super close to Uranus, right? Right now, Uranus will, if it hasn't already hit your moon, it's going to hit your moon. And so there could be themes of like disruption and things like that with Uranus there. But with the North Node coming over your moon, this could be a fated karmic direction. Just in general terms, emotionally moving towards a more stable, more grounded emotional state, as well as events happening in your mom's life, because the moon is a general significator of the mother. It's also a general significator of the body as well. So there could be physical changes to your body that you're working on as well over the course of the 8 months.
You could also move.
Yeah. Oh, that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Anybody else? Okay. So I would say I'm going to let my dog back in. Okay. And let's go ahead and do forecasts for quick little mini run-throughs of all 12 signs.
Quick run-throughs. Okay, so I'll start with Aries. So the North Node is moving into Taurus. And so for Aries, rising sun or moon, right? This is actually your 2nd and your 8th house when it comes to Taurus and Scorpio. And so you can see themes of letting go of other people's resources, letting go of deep psychological attachments, letting go of even old wounding, old psychological baggage, and moving more towards your own resources, your own, like standing on your own 2 feet with something, right? Because that 2nd house really has to do with how you make your own money, your value system, and even it could have associations too with property as well. So, you know, there's definitely some things going on there for Aries rising sun or moon. So there's that.
Yeah, and I don't have a chart pulled up. So let me think here. We'll do Taurus rising, Taurus sun, Taurus moon. And so this is specifically if you're Taurus rising, this is going to be huge for you, because this is going to be happening on your 1st and 7th house axis. So this is the house of you versus the house of other people that you're in relationship with, any intimate, close partnerships. So this is really helping you to learn how you value yourself and everything like that, and how you operate from this standpoint, and this your morals and your values and your ethics are definitely going to come into question. So you could honestly be challenged by being pulled back into relationships that are a little bit more toxic, or a little bit more challenging, where people try to manipulate you or take advantage of you or hold their power over you in some way, shape, or form. There could even be some, shadowy relationship dynamics that come back from the past, or people that have similar energy or something like that, that you're going to be reworking a lot of those kinds of things. If you have a negative relation or negative relationship with relationships in general, or you have an unhealthy relationship that's toxic, a lot of that stuff could definitely bubble up, and you might choose you, right? You might move in the direction of you. And really start to build a healthier dynamic with yourself. This could also be a healthy, really great time to build your wealth and work on money matters. This is the house of you. It's very personal. This could be a house where you really work on your appearance, because Taurus is a Venus ruled sign. It's all about beauty and aesthetic and cosmetics and look and hair and makeup and all those kinds of things. So you could really be changing your appearance or starting to value taking care of yourself and your daily routine and habits a little bit more.
I love that. And then Gemini would be the 12th house and the 6th house. So there could be letting go of the mundane, everyday kind of situations that you find yourself in. What's that?
The daily grind.
The daily grind. Find yourself getting away from the daily grind and moving more towards rest, reprieve, relaxation. I mean, there's going to be at points, because I can tell you, with the North Node having eclipses, North Node eclipses in the 12th house, you are pulled out of your daily grind. You're pulled into solitude and seclusion, being alone with your thoughts and your, it could even be your vices, right? Because this is where we tend to self-sabotage ourselves. So that could be a thing, but it can also be highly spiritual. Again, this can also be hospitals. Maybe there's some health issues that need to be taken care of. So to get rid of them, well, not get rid of them, but to release out of that South Node toxicity of the 6th house, you're doing something, and especially with Uranus there, you're moving towards a very different, unique way of taking care of your health and your wellness through some type of institution, hospital, something like that, doctor, what have you. So that could be a thing. Spiritual awakenings, things like that happen there with eclipses in the 12th house too. Yeah, I think that's about it for Gemini. Quick synopsis.
Yeah, for sure. And then also, so we're going to be moving into what? Cancer. Oh, that's me. So that's the North Node in the 11th house, which is the house of our social connections, our groups that we're affiliated with, any organizations we might be involved with, or friendship connections. This is also a house of allies, so people that could potentially help you in some way, shape, or form in your career, and like your goals and aspirations. So there could be an increase or gain in all of these areas of life, where maybe some of the things you've been trying to achieve for a really long time, you get there and you actually like make a lot of progress. This is a house that's associated with like social networking and like social media and stuff like that. So if you have a following or something like that, you might be able to build that a little bit more. So build it in prominence when the North Node is in the 11th house. Now that Scorpio 5th house, where the South Node is, we could be stepping away from more so focusing on like our own creative projects, talents, and abilities, and thinking more on how we can build to help the group, or how we can build to help society, and making it more of a social cause, I guess you could say, rather than just doing it because we're doing it because we like to do it, and actually helping the group.
Philanthropy.
Yeah,
Philanthropy,
right.
Yeah.
Philanthropy. With maybe even some dark, shadowy causes, or helping people really dive deep into themselves in some way, shape, or form. And you want to watch out that you're not escaping and having a little bit too much fun, like I mentioned earlier, with friends or celebration, because this can bring out addictive tendencies, hedonism, all of those kinds of things. So you do want to make sure that you're remaining balanced on this axis as well. But this could also, I want to tie in like children as well, because the children.
That's, yep.
So you could be letting go of maybe a child that may be moving out to college or working on their goals or aspirations, and you're having to kind of like you know, change your relationship in some way with your children.
Yep, that's awesome. Let's see. So Leo, that would be moi.
Isn't it funny how we always get our own? We're
I
just
know,
like,
right?
oh, we can do this easy.
Yeah, it's easy. So with the North Node, you've gone through what Yelena just described, actually, with the nodes, partly with the nodes moving through your 11th and your 5th house. Now they're moving into your 10th and your 4th. So you're focusing on your career, on your public standing, on your public reputation, and the things that you want to be known for after you're dead and gone out of this world, right? Like, and to say it that way, right? That Scorpio South Node. So what you're moving away from is you could be moving away from any toxic paradigms that are going on behind the scenes, or toxicity that has to do maybe even in the home itself. You could be moving away from that and focusing more on your goals, where you want to get to, your career that you want to have. There could definitely be major changes happening here, especially with the North Node Uranus Mars conjunction that's coming up later in the year. There could definitely be some major changes happening there. But yeah, it's moving more into what you want to do for career and your public standing, and getting away from what's going on behind the scenes, so to say, right?
I like that.
Yeah.
Go, Shanna. Go, Shanna. Go, go. Okay. So Virgo rising, or secondarily sun and moon. So basically this will be happening in your 9th house, the 9th house, 3rd house axis. So North Node in the 9th house definitely brings more of an emphasis on higher learning and education. So if you are looking to take some type of course or dive into a field of study, or maybe even do some traveling and go on like a sabbatical and learn in India, or like go to Bali and engulf yourself in culture and like experience life, and or maybe like travel and build some type of business while you're on the road or something like that.
That'd be
I think
cool.
education, yeah, education has a lot to do with it in general. Let's see. I think with Taurus being really wrapped up in our belief system, not our belief systems, but our moral framework that we operate from, as well as our values and everything like that, our sense of integrity and our behaviors that are based off of that. The way that we view the world is going to change. You're going to be expanding your awareness of just, you know, the world in general and your perspectives that kind of stem from those types of things. I can also see with some people, this might bring like I cannot talk, Mercury retrograde.
Oh my gosh.
Might bring in dynamics that are related to legality and law in some way, shape, or form. Maybe something is being, a right is being wronged, because the 3rd house Scorpio is kind of bringing information, because the 3rd house is very related to information and communication. Something is being brought up to the surface and there's something being righted, some wrong or something like that, or something's being brought into the judicial system in some way, shape, or form. Does that make sense? Okay.
That makes sense. That makes total sense.
But also, I think that what we're doing is we're getting rid of nasty, toxic, old mindsets with that South Node in Scorpio in the 3rd house, right? It's just like all about the mind and information and kind of having this stagnant mindset that you're holding on to. Am I missing anything with this? Do you want to add anything? Because
I don't think so. Well, 3rd house can also be commerce too. So if
Yeah.
you're someone that runs your own business and you have a small business, right? Because the 3rd house is a small business, you could be letting go of certain aspects of it that are toxic for your framing of reality, right? Like you could be looking more towards like the bigger picture versus what or who you're communicating with every day too.
Yes, I like that a lot. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
All right. And so that was Virgo, right? So I have Libra. So for Libra, again, kind of like reverse of Aries, right? So this is you letting go of a source of income. This is you letting go of some type of old value that you've had that may be even toxic to you. It could be something like that. It could be letting go of some type of financial like how you specifically make your money, you could be letting go of that and relying more on your partner's resources, or relying more on your business partner who, if that's the case for you, bringing money in for you. So it could be something like that as well. It could be healing, even like dynamic, instantaneous healing with Uranus here with the North Node. And so there's definitely like deep-seated psychological things that need to be taken care of on this axis for you. And so there could definitely be, you know, some psychological work that needs to be done. Yeah, I think, do you want to add anything to that one?
Sometimes on this axis, you know, we think about the darker aspects of money and our relationship to it, and like manipulation, using like resources as a form of manipulation or control or something like that. You know, it's kind of like moving out of or letting go of the darker side of that kind of thing, and moving more into like a healthier dynamic of the way that we operate within the realm of money, I guess.
Yeah.
Or respecting other people's money in a certain sense. But I don't know. I like the healing dynamic as well, because this is like very, did you tie in like the self-worth in the second house and like eradicating toxicity of not believing in yourself, or removing
yes.
blockages, and just diving deep into your own psychology, which is Scorpio and 8th house.
Yeah. Right.
To heal, not only just healing traumas and things like that, but money blocks too.
That's true too. Yes. Very much so. I like that. Thank you. I love that.
Oh my gosh, you're goofy.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're up.
Okay. And so I'm on to Scorpio, correct?
Yes.
So this is,
Yeah.
Scorpio. Scorpio, this actually is going to bring the North Node into your second house or 7th house. And the South Node is going to be in the house of you. So goodbye. No, I'm just joking. But I love you. I love you, Scorpio. But basically, this is really great energy for kind of reassessing everything that has to do with you, your personality, the way that you interact with other people within relationship, and letting go of any toxic behavior patterns, letting go of any toxic conditioning, or working through different traumas that are preventing you from having solid and stable foundations within relationships with other people, right? So I think this is really good energy to build if you are already in a relationship, to stabilize the foundation of your relationship and keep building and set goals with your partner, or any contracts or negotiations that you might be involved with as well. This can be really great energy for stepping into something that's a little bit more stable on a solid foundation. Let's see here. Do you have anything to add to this?
No, I think that was a great rundown.
Basically more so focused on their relationships and eradicating toxic aspects of self.
Yeah, letting go of an old version of themselves, right? Because Scorpio risings are known for like shedding their skin and
transforming.
Yeah. So
yeah, and I think of this definitely, it's like a total, you could honestly be undergoing a big identity change. This is something that's pretty common to Scorpio energy in general, because you do this throughout your lifetime, but this is a big activation of that specifically, that shedding of the skin, snake kind of energy.
Yeah.
So surrender to it, you guys, and let it go. Let it go what no longer serves you.
Yeah. And then so now Sagittarius. So this is moving like with the South Node in the 12th house, this is letting go of being in solitude and seclusion. This is letting go of old toxic kind of self-sabotaging behaviors and patterns and things like that are deeply unconscious, right? Yeah. And so this is letting go of all that and moving more towards doing what feels good on a day-to-day basis and being in your body, right? Like I think of the 6th house as just being physically in your body. And so with the North Node here and having eclipses here, and especially with Uranus here, there's dynamic sense of what it is that you're doing every day is going to have to be varied and different. And so you're going to have to adapt to that. And Uranus has been there and will be there for several years, but it's with the North Node here, it's kind of like speeding that up. And so you're physically on a physical level, And you could be really changing up your routines and changing your body and what's going on with your health, your wellness, even your work, if that's something that's applicable to you, where you show up every single day to kind of like, what is it? The toiling away, right?
Heart. This is like grinding energy.
Yeah.
Grinding energy. It's busy energy.
Yeah. So it's like where you toil away for the pennies and the pittance that you make, and health, wellness, even your mindset, right? Like your mindset is going to shift with this North Node here and having eclipses here, because you're going to completely change your view on reality around you.
This is like a great house to build really good new habits that you do on a daily basis. That, because I think of this house as a house that it's what we do on the daily, our habits and patterns that contribute to our physical health and well-being, whether that be for the good or the bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this is a good house to kind of let go, like you said, 12th house, let go of self-sabotaging behaviors and bad habits and things like that, and stepping into healthier fitness, nutrition, taking care of the body. All right.
Yes. I love it.
Okay. So moving into Capricorn rising, Capricorn sun and moon secondarily, this is going to be moving into your 5th house. So this puts North Node in Taurus in the 5th house. This could, with Uranus here, I just want to like hop this in right away. This is the house of children. So if you are someone who is not looking to be having children, careful.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to say any names, and I'm sure she won't care because nobody knows who she is, but I just did a reading and she already had something happen with this last week where it was an accident. It could have potentially been an accidental situation. So I said, be careful. So yeah, I can see this because this is the house of children and creativity and conception, because creation creates things, right?
Yeah.
This could create a child. And Uranus is here with the North Node. So it could be sudden and unexpected and create upheaval, right? So that is one thing that you definitely want to be aware of if you're not trying to build a family, Taurus. But what I like about this as well is that this could be really auspicious energy if you are someone who has a creative skill or talent or ability that you're looking to monetize. This could be excellent, right? Where you're maybe moving away from group dynamics or focusing on that kind of thing and moving more towards, what do I want to do? What makes me happy? And how can I make money? Or what goals can I set to maybe boost my ego a little bit? Do that, right? Now, with the South Node in Scorpio, this is like releasing toxic friends, releasing toxic group dynamics, anybody that you might be involved with that's not really contributing to where it is you want to go in your future, and letting all that go, right? Maybe it's you that's toxic in friendships and you need to transform some of those things. Because with the North Node being something that we over exaggerate, it could be that you're overly focused on the things that you want to do and you need to focus more on your friends, right? So those are just a couple different ways that I see this. Maybe it's working on goals from the past that somehow you have not yet actualized, or maybe somebody could come back from your past that helps you in some way, shape, or form to actualize the goals that you're trying to create.
I like that. I really like that.
Thanks. I really like it too. Thanks.
I do. I see at times like this, of course, you know, I have my vertex in Capricorn.
Okay.
So that's like the second ascendant, as they say. So I'm like, yeah, let's do this. More kids.
I didn't know it was the second ascendant. That's actually really interesting. I did not know that.
So the vertex would be like, it's not a second ascendant, but it's you can carry attributes of the sign that your vertex is in.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
we'll have to talk about that. I want to know.
Yeah, no kids. Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
So for Aquarius rising, right? So the North Node is now moving out of your 5th house, which is everything that Yelena just said, and moving more towards your home, your family, your property, your place of living, your place of being, your parents, right? Even like dogs, maybe like pets, things like that.
They're family members.
What's that?
They're family members to me.
Yeah, I mean, me too. So there's less of an emphasis with that South Node on what it is that you're doing in career, what is you're doing out in the world, or even worldly matters in general. You're moving away, you're letting go of anything that is toxic in terms of your career and the legacy that you want to leave behind. You're moving away from that, and you're moving more towards that fourth house, that home and family, and what you want to do there, what you want to build there, right? This is the North Node. So you're going to be building something here.
And it's
that whether
Taurus.
and it's Taurus.
It's
So this
building
could
everything.
even be building a new home or
Yeah.
building what's that?
I was saying, yeah.
Yeah, like building a home or building a building, either physically building a home or finding someone that feels like home, right?
Yeah.
It
Sorry,
could
I
be
was just
something like
reading,
that.
somebody said Gandhi was a Libra. I wanted to just
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah, anyways. Okay, sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay. Yeah, I think that's all I really want to say about Aquarius rising.
I think like for a very small amount of people too, I was just thinking like, since, Scorpio energy can be very much associated with like mortgages and things like that. And so it's either like purchasing of a home and dealing with those kinds of things, like, or paying off a mortgage of your
That would
home,
be awesome. Yeah.
or even getting into real estate
Yep, that too.
thing. So I don't know. This is just thoughts.
Yeah.
But okay, so next would be Pisces. Final Pisces. We zoomed through these, Shanna. Okay, so Pisces, we've got North Node, and I'm just totally lost at this point. Third house.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got the North Node moving into Taurus in the third house for you, Pisces. And I think that this is really nice energy if you are looking to maybe build skills. Skills of things that you do with your hands specifically, right? Like building, or maybe a skill that's going to help you reach your goal in the future. So if you need to learn like web design or coding, or take some type of certification program, like anything that could help you, this could be good for like real estate certification or something like that. Because the third house is learning, but it's not necessarily higher education. It's more our formative years, formative education, as well as any type of skill building or anything like that. This would be good for website design or building a website or something like that for your building, because this is the house or for your business. This is the house that's associated with merchants and businesses. I would say small businesses and things like that. If you are, this could be an increase in energy of something relative to your siblings or your relatives or your local community. You could somehow become involved with those types of people or community relations in some way, shape, or form. I would say this could potentially, you could be moving away from, maybe if you are somebody who travels a lot, or is associated with work in foreign cultures or foreign affairs of some way, shape, or form, you could be moving away from that. Help me out, Shanna. I'm kind of drawing a blank with this one a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on a lot of the significations: small business, siblings, extended family members,
I
community.
guess one thing too is like the ninth house also is very Sagittarian in nature. It has a lot to do with our belief systems, like our thoughts and beliefs and about the world, about ourselves. And this could be moving away from toxic belief systems, or maybe like dogmatic religious belief systems and things like that, and kind of adapting a healthier, more stable mindset. I can see that playing out this way as well, because it's like the lower mind versus the higher mind.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, you covered it.
Well, this is fun.
I know, I love it.
Like, that's all I gotta say. It was really fun.
We've been laughing this whole time.
I know.
Having a fun time. I love it. This is what our TA sessions are like, everyone. So
I wish sometimes I wish that we could do our TA sessions together, because that would be so fun.
It would be.
But yeah, so it was just a pleasure to be here with you guys. And Shanna and I are definitely, I'm moving, so once I get settled across the country, I will be back and Shanna will be back. And again, if you have not subscribed, tap the subscribe button below. And if you have not opened up a little tab and went to Shanna's YouTube page, Moon Apogee Astrology, please do so and subscribe to her, because she needs to be heard again. Once again, She's got her North Node in the 10th house.
Yeah.
Something needs to be heard. Okay, so we love you guys. Thank you so much for coming, and help us out. Tap that like button below, leave us a comment. Thank you so much for participating in the chat. And yeah, we will see you on the flip side. Best of luck with the nodal shift with Uranus, and maybe we'll be back to talk about some stuff in February.
Yeah, that
Do you
sounds
have
like fun.
anything else to say?
Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for being here and leaving comments. I'm the type of person, I go back and read them. So.
Oh, me too, definitely. Okay, well, we love
Right.
you. Peace out. Peace be with you.
May the force be with you.
May the force be with you all. Thank you. And end. Okay. Try to end it.